Hello and welcome to Merlin's Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and new LEGO ideas as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Let's get started. We will start with a couple of availabilities from BlueBrixx. Here we have the Governance Island Harbor. That is one of the extension modules for the whole Pirate Island Governors series of BlueBrixx. We are talking about the 105181 from them by Marco designed, and they are asking for €95 for 1,647 pieces. That's 5.8 cents a piece, 3.9 cents per gram if ZTB has not miscalculated. I've talked about this before. I mean, this is by far not the first extension. Here you get a glimpse on like an idea how you could combine the different modules to build your own pirate landscape. The brick down here on the left below is actually not yet available. I think that is a set a lot of folks are looking forward to, like a solid pirate ship that has, let's say, decent pricing. Keep in mind, however, BlueBrixx, as always, with their specials, they're using Kunlong pieces, so that is not the same, let's say, piece quality as you might expect it or see it from LEGO. Nevertheless, a nice set, very well designed. Looking forward to this one. And then we're moving on to BlueBrixx Star Trek series. Here we have of the fourth wave, I think it is now, the mid-size models, a couple of availabilities. One is the Klingon Bird of Prey in the cloaked version. We're talking about the 105439. I think I've reported on this one before. Yes, end of December was the announcement. And this bad boy has 565 pieces, and you're going to pay €35. Again, that's prices over here in the European Union, obviously, and that always includes tax, just for the international audience. Keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, these cloaked versions were kind of a meme in the beginning, but it seems they are running well. At least that's my guess, because BlueBrixx is doing the other one. I think before that they did like a cruiser. Was it a cruiser from the Klingons? And now you have the Bird of Prey. I think the Bird of Prey is then the model with most variants, because they did generally BlueBrixx with Star Trek is doing these in 3 different sizes, so mid-size, mini size, and display model. And the Bird of Prey, they have done all 3 of these, and now in addition the mid-size and cloak version. So there are 4 different Bird of Preys from BlueBrixx. Here you go. Let's move forward to a set that I'm personally looking forward to a lot more, and that is the NX74205, also known as the USS Defiant 105440. I have built the display variant, the large one, and this, of course, mid-size, so it has 561 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking as well for €35. Actually, this thing is already on its way to me, should arrive today, so I'm really looking forward to building this one. Big DS9 fan, like I've said before, but I think it's also very nice design. Over here in Germany, we had already a couple of building reports in Discord, etc. from the community, and it seems to be a solid design, nice building techniques to get the angles of the warp drive, so really looking forward to this one. What I'm also looking forward to, actually also on its way on my desk, is the USS Enterprise NCC 1701. So that's original series version, so not from the movies. And we're talking about the 105438 from BlueBrixx, and they are asking for €33. So it's only 6.3 cents a piece. I guess it has almost a similar amount of prints, right? Plus, I guess I'm really looking forward to this print here on the warp drives, because, I mean, as far as I can tell, these are round bricks, right? 2x2 round bricks, and they have prints across all of them. So curious if that is actually a print or a sticker. Let's see how this goes. I do assume that on the curved slopes here, the 2x2s, as well as here on the bricks on the side, you will see pet printed pieces for sure. Anyhow, looking forward to this one. Here you go, original series. On this one, actually, that was wave 1. So in the first series, first wave, they did 2 display models, so large ones, basically both of them, I think, around $200. And actually, the original series Enterprise, together with the Galaxy class Enterprise D, were the 2 initial sets. Let's move on to a set that I have actually already built, and it arrived end of last week. I was really excited, so immediately started, and this was like my weekend project. And we're talking about the 105-180, the Rockefeller Center architecture set from BlueBrixx, 4,580 pieces, one of the largest architecture sets of all time. Keep in mind, the largest architecture set, I mean, part of the architecture series that LEGO has ever done, I think had 2,200 pieces. The second largest is actually the Taj Mahal that is still on the market. So BlueBrixx is going far beyond that. So we had Venice very recently, we had the Willis Tower. All of these sets are a lot bigger, and BlueBrixx has a lot more in the pipeline. So for all of you architecture fans, I definitely recommend taking a look at BlueBrixx. However, they're asking for $180, so that is not a bargain. I mean, it is a bargain considering how many pieces are in there. Obviously, you have like 1 million of these tiles. Technically, it's not 1 million. I think it's 2,400 out of the 4,500 pieces are these tiles. But I can say, compared to the Willis or Sears Tower that I've built before, which looks, I mean, seems to have a similar design due to also using these tiles, obviously in black. I must say, however, this thing is a very different animal. It's a lot smaller, it looks like, but it's much more compressed, much more detailed, much more complicated building techniques. So it's not easy to build for sure. So definitely an interesting set, and I can say it looks in reality magnificent. So I'm a big fan already. Could be one of my all-time favorites of architecture. I mean, the LEGO White House is also a beauty, but I think this thing goes even beyond that. Anyhow, obviously, again, piece quality not the best, but it's definitely good enough, and it looks marvelous. And when you have the set built, because tan is a very uncomplicated color when it comes to piece quality compared to black, for instance. Anyhow, let's move on to St. Peter's, the 105-218, also an architecture set. Same designer. Anton is kind of the architecture guy over at BlueBrixx. And this thing has 2,728 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking only for $80. That's 2.9 cents a piece. That is crazy. Actually, I started building this one yesterday in stream, actually in my German stream. And yeah, I mean, after 2 hours, I basically got just this front here, the front place here. I built maybe 50% of that. So considering that it's only $80, again, including tax, that is, I think this could be the new record holder for, let's say, a building quality and building time per buck. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's just $80, and I had already so much fun with it. And I think the design is really exquisite. So yeah, really looking forward. There's of course a lot of black stuff in there, and black is usually a problematic color for, let's say, the piece quality that you get from BlueBrixx, because all the micro scratches and everything. Black, I mean, you saw this just recently from LEGO with the Camaro. Even LEGO is struggling sometimes with that color. So getting a deep black is something that a lot of piece manufacturers are struggling with. I had a recent build, was it a CADA, from CADA, the LEVC, the London Electric Vehicle Company taxi, all black. They're really struggling getting a good blackout. But yeah, like I said, LEGO is struggling as well. Long story short, amazing thing. It's a lot bigger than, I mean, I saw here the centimeter, like it's 53 centimeters in length almost, or 52. And I know that, but nevertheless, when I had it on my desk, I was a bit surprised how large it is, because yeah, you're saying, okay, it's architecture, right? It shouldn't be that big. And it costs only $80. That's ridiculous. It's like the LEGO White House if you get a very good discount. Anyhow, let's move on to Cobi. And here we have a couple of availabilities. Unfortunately, always just in Europe. I'm really, for the international audience here, that's a bit unfortunate. My apologies. I just will start talking about them as soon as they're available in Europe. But if you go across the pond, usually it takes a bit more time until these Cobi sets get available. Plus, I do not have that many partners, but for sure, Amazon is not listing it. Anyhow, let's move forward. The HMS Belfast, the 4844. So this seems to be like a refresh of the Belfast from the year before. I don't know how much they have changed. I guess not much, but technically it's a new set. So over here in Europe, Cobi is listing it for 130 euros, including tax over here, but you get it already from European shops, slightly discounted, like $110 for the 1,517 pieces. Also available is, and I'm pretty sure I will pronounce this entirely wrong, de Havilland, I guess. I'm not 1% sure. I mean, he was British, but I guess that's not a British name by origin, right? Anyhow, DH-98 Mosquito fast bomber of the British during the war. However, it has actually been built until the late 50s. So they made more than 7,781 of these bad boys, and I think it has been a very successful airplane. It was made out of wood, which is quite interesting. Originally was designed as a fast bomber or German Schnellbomber, which I think was a Nazi Germany concept of having bombers that can go very fast and basically outmaneuver fighter planes. Actually, that concept has never worked out for the Germans, because when you put bombs on these airplanes, then and a couple of weapons at least, they got a lot slower and they couldn't outrun the fighter jets. So that concept has never worked. Actually, I think one of many big mistakes Nazi Germany's military made. But anyhow, the British did this amazing piece, and it could go very fast, very high. It could go also very low. So this thing is for sure one of the most successful bombers during Second World War. Anyhow, it has this Cobi model is a 1x32. It has 710 pieces, a minifigure. Actually, it should have two, right? Because there should be two minifigures in there. Anyhow, I'm not 1% sure. I have to look into this. This looks a bit wrong. Should be two minifigures, not a minifigure. Anyhow, Cobi is listing it for 55 bucks, but you can get it over here in Europe already slightly discounted for 45. Let's move on to a couple of tanks. Here we have a Cromwell. That is a British cruiser tank. I think that is a British invention, right, of the cruiser tank. Basically, they had a distinction during Second World War between cruiser tanks, where the idea was go fast, but not be as armored as heavily. And then they had infantry tanks, basically saying, okay, this is a tank that doesn't need to go faster than an infantry soldier can walk or run, I guess. But these things were a lot faster. Usually they couldn't be armed very heavily. That was kind of a drawback of that concept, but it was kind of like a mechanized cavalry. That was, I think, the concept here. Anyhow, this one here is a Mark IV, so that had it was basically Centaur 3 with Meteor motor and a 75mm gun. This Cobi set is a 1x35 tank, 544 pieces, a minifigure, and Cobi is listing it for 47 bucks. You get it slightly discounted for 39 over here. Let's move on to the HMC M8 Scott. So that's basically a tank with what is an English name for that? A howitzer? Is that correct? Not 1% sure. Scale 1x35 as well. I mean, it's an M8 Scott, so I mean, it's quite short actually. It's a small tank, but so it has only 13.5 centimeters, 13.5 in length, 17.5 in width, and 9 centimeters in height. But it is scale 1x35, so don't you worry. However, for these 525 pieces, Cobi is asking for 47 bucks. That is 9 cents a piece. That is quite a lot, but you can get it discounted over here. However, it's a bit out of stock, but there are European shops listing it. Why am I always saying listening? Listing it for 37 euros. That was Cobi, and no real new set from LEGO. However, they have a new gift with purchase, and like they revived Space a couple of weeks ago, now they are reviving Bionicle. I guess there's a lot of friends of that idea over in the US, especially to my knowledge. I mean, Bionicle, as far as I know, has never been a big success over here in Europe. I guess that's also one of the reasons why it got cancelled. But I think it usually sounds like 90% of the fan base is in North America. But anyhow, we're talking about the 40581. There's already a review from New Elementary, so I recommend taking a look at that. As always, as soon as I can grab good reviews, either on YouTube or blog-based, web-based, it will be listed on zdb.org as well. I should work on the category here. That is actually wrong. The problem is that LEGO has not listed it under Bionicle. Maybe the Lego homepage doesn't even know Bionicle, but I will take care of that. I should get category fixed rather soon. Anyhow, it's basically, I think the gift with purchase has already started, or it start pretty soon. Actually, I will buy the new idea set 1st of February. So I'm curious if that is part of that, because my understanding is you not only need a minimum bar as you usually do with gift with purchase, but also I think you're not going to get it for every set or every buy. I think you need to have certain sets in your purchase to get this gift with purchase. Anyhow, let's move on to Pantasy. And here we have the mini Le Petit Prince, the Little Prince. Basically, this is like a weird, it's not weird, I mean, in a positive sense. It's a bit strange. It looks a bit like a mix out of a minifigure and a brick hat. And anyhow, it's a typical Pantasy set, means, it's a bit strange, but it's beautiful. I guess this is how you could put together a Little Prince. Actually, this is, I think, the second set that they've created out of having that license for that book. And again, it's a beautiful set. Personally, I prefer the other one. The other one is basically this glass here that you see here on the left. This is basically like a large set of that. Just take a look at set TB. You should find it rather fast. Just go on May, for instance, the Pantasy category, and then we look, I guess we filter by Prince. And here you go. The 86302 was the other set I was talking about. And yeah, here we go. Little Prince. Beautiful set, I must say. Friend of mine already built it, or somebody from our German community over here, and it is a real beauty. And as always with Pantasy, pet printed, good piece quality usually. So what's not to love? Then we have a couple of availabilities over here in Europe, actually from sets that are, I think, on the market for quite a while, from TaiGaoLe, dinosaurs actually. And here we have the Triceratops. Not 1% sure how that is pronounced. I think that's a good thing about Latin, right? There is no right way to pronounce it. Anyhow, 2013, 2,116 pieces. So that's a dinosaur. And you're just paying $60 over here in Europe. 2.8 cents a piece. That is crazy. Actually, I don't know how good the piece quality is, etc., but it has even lighting included in a weird place. Like, why does a dino have lighting in its mouth? But I guess you can, I guess it's something like a light brick, something that you can easily just skip, which I would actually do. And then we have a smaller one, also available over here in Europe now, the Ankylosaurus, the 3022, 601 pieces. You pay $20. That's 3.3 cents a piece. So quite some new sets for the dino lovers out there. And then we have a new plant, the peach blossom branches in a vase, 92021. That's actually an announcement from a, again, European shop that we will get this over here in stock, and this one has 992 pieces. Actually, also some folks here over from our community built a couple of these. I think they are, let's say, well received. Some of those even have like is a smell. A smell is, I guess, the wrong word, right? But anyhow, they are like, there's a perfume on them to smell like a flower. Actually, that is a bit crazy, but hey, I mean, I don't know. I guess some folks are gonna love it. I would always be like, I don't know if I want that on my pieces. But anyhow, let's move on to MOCs of the week. And here the first one that we have is the Ape Garage Pizza Shop. So that's like a tiny modular. It's actually on half a base plate, so that should be a 16 by 32. It's designed by Brick Pizzo 89. It has 998 pieces, and he's asking for, he or she, I'm actually not sure, is asking for €6. Beautiful design. Personally, I'm a big fan. I've talked about this before, and I keep talking about it, like smaller. Smaller is better sometimes. And I think, especially with bricks, with all these enormous, gigantic, like Eiffel Tower kind of sets, Titanic, and also what other brands are doing, like BlueBrixx. I think Blaustein Castle is now at 22,000 pieces. and you have all these enormous things. And I will also have a couple of MOCs we talk about in a second that are enormous, but it's also nice that there's still good stuff done in smaller scale. So I'm a big fan of all these nano builds that I've talked before in the last couple of weeks. We have seen a lot of these, but also the whole idea of creating smaller modulars in quotes. And this one actually here is even designed to be combined with regular modulars. And I'm a big fan of that. You know, let's go smaller. That's a good thing. Less space, less plastic that we need. So let's go smaller. But anyhow, speaking of smaller, let's talk about the ISD Liberator by Marius 2002. I think I've talked about one of his designs before, the Venator class, which was a beautiful Venator, around 1,200 pieces, something in that ballpark, which is great, right? Because you have a lot of these monsters, like this one actually, 5,367 pieces, and then you have the tiny micro models. But I usually, at least in my point of view, I don't have the space and the time, and also not always the budget to build these gigantic Star Destroyer thingies with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 pieces. But also I want to have a good Star Destroyer. So having something in the ballpark of 1,000 to 1,500 pieces is actually great. However, Marius has done here now the Liberator. And I must say, it is an amazing design. I mean, admittedly, the pictures are also done very well. But what I really like here is that this is a Star Destroyer where I think he has done the perfect combination of seeing studs and having tiles, right? I'm a big fan. I don't really like the Lego design of the Lego Star Destroyer where it's like 1 million studs and almost no tiles. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it looks cheap. But also, you want to have some stats, right? It's brick built and you want to show that. So I actually do really like, it's almost like Cobi. Cobi is also doing this in a perfect way, having the right amount of stats. Maybe Cobi is even going a bit low on the stats nowadays, but I do like if I see them, I just don't want them to overdo it. And this is, I think, it's a perfect design. It looks really beautiful. But again, I mean, the pictures are also very well done. Good design, Marius. $15 for 4,367 mock Star Wars. That's a good price here. That's a bargain right there. Anyhow, let's move on to a new design by BlueBrixx Artisan, very well known designer. 2,875 pieces. It is the inverted Jazz Club. Technically, that's a modification of the new Lego modular. It is not an alternate build because you have to add 65 pieces. But I mean, if you look at it right now, it looks a bit boring, right? The idea is, of course, that you have an inverted corner that gives you so much more flexibility for your Lego city, right? I'm actually don't see these that often on Rebrickable. Most folks are focusing on the two typical designs, the typical corner design or the non-corner design that Lego is usually doing. But actually that means at the end of the day, you can basically create cities only in a static layout. Basically, you have to build blocks, right? Like a city block. And however, with these inverted designs, I think I've talked about some of these before, you get so much more flexibility and on options into your city. So I'm a big fan of that. I guess the new prints are not yet in studio. So that is the reason why it looks a bit boring, but obviously, right, you have to just imagine the new pet printed pieces that Lego put into the Jazz Club. So I'm a big fan of this design, just for the flexibility that it gives you. I think in the inside, it's also well made. Obviously, I mean, if you are rebuilding it anyhow, the first thing I would do is add a ton of tiles in second and third floor to this. But next to that, well done, BlueBrixx Artisan, great job. And then let's move on again to Yellow LXF. Talked about his or her designs in the past. Unbelievable busy designer, especially in the train space. And here we have the Norfolk and Western GP9. It's a black and yellow locomotive, which looks amazing. $10 for 1,380 pieces. I mean, I've never built one of these designs, but considering how many of them, I think that designer has 374 designs. And look at it, they are not small. Most of them are above 1,000 pieces. Yes, you have a few smaller in here, but I mean, look at this. This is a designer that is working, I guess, very efficiently, or is doing nothing else. I don't know. I mean, look at this ship even. it's really amazing. Very busy designer, but great designs. Really, really loving it. What, however, is my personal mock of the week is Appa. We have Appa, the house from Avatar: The Last Airbender by ByteMouse. 1,092 pieces, $14. That's not cheap, but I guess it's the most beautiful Appa that I've ever seen. I think the pieces also look within reason. I think this shouldn't be too expensive. And I mean, come on, Appa. I mean, yeah. Look at the first sentence here in the details. Arguably the best character from Avatar. I do agree. Appa is just amazing. And this is beautiful done, ByteMouse. I would have wished that ByteMouse would have added a few more pictures. Would have loved to see the back and the top, but it's Appa. That's all you need to know. And then let's come to the last mock of the week. The Theed Royal Palace by SkyGuy365. SkyGuy is always a nice name. 4,754 pieces, 30 euros. I mean, for me, I think the Liberator is bigger and has $15, and this is 30. So yeah, it's a bit expensive for my personal taste, but I really like the outside look. I actually just recently built a mock by Brad on which one of his from his display series, I think he's calling it, basically or diorama series. Like it's like a scale and size of a Lego diorama, and it's basically Theed the Royal Palace in its entirety, with with the rock and the cliff and everything. Amazing, beautiful thing. I still have it here on my shelf. This of course is minifigure scale, or at least gets closer to minifigure scale. That's the idea. So an entirely different animal. I think in Brad's mock, maybe this entire palace is like 4 studs. And it's actually really built in reality. Personally, the only thing I'm not 100% happy with, and I guess it's consistent with the movie, but the way it's arranged in here with all the pink flowers, it has a bit the vibe of a Friends set, I do have to say. So I don't know. I would try to get maybe a slightly different color scheme inside, but in general, of course, I mean, come on, it's the Naboo Theed Royal Palace, and I think it's well done, especially from the outside. I really like it. So well done job, SkyGuy. I would really think a bit about the pricing. But anyhow, let's move on to LEGO Ideas. And here we have a couple of entries. First thing is Shrek's Swamp. So we are we're getting close to the 20th anniversary of the second movie, actually. So this set, I think, is related to movie number 2, which released 2004. So 20 years is basically up ahead for next year. And I guess that is what this designer, which is actually Asian Flash, was, I guess, having in mind. Because obviously LEGO loves this kind of stuff, like they're just doing the Dungeons and Dragons anniversary thingy, and hey, it's a movie license. LEGO loves doing movie license stuff. So personally, I think this is in this wave one of the sets that has the best chance, right? This is typical LEGO Ideas. Anyhow, the design is well done, I must say. I'm really happy about it. A bit maybe, I don't know, I would love a few more details in the inside. Tiles on the floor for sure, as you know, is like my cup of tea. But you can open it up, which is great, I think. And like I said, I mean, who's not loving a Shrek set? And you have pulls in there as well. Anyhow, let's move on to Brick Boulevard. And this is you see it almost immediately. This is a BlueBrixx design, beautifully done as always. Haven't seen one of his designs getting to 10,000 in a while. But I mean, yes, has done a lot of successful LEGO Ideas campaigns, but I guess his modulars are the most or the most famous ones or well-known ones, just because he did so many, and they are always beautiful. They are always great. But as always, I guess the concept here is just get to the 10,000 and get the reward for that, because LEGO will never do modulars in the Ideas series without a license, right? Like Home Alone, for sure, that's a different animal. I mean, technically, it's not even a traditional modular, but Home Alone, of course, was a license thing, but this one is not. Anyhow, you have here the London Underground. I very recently just built from Cada the new London Underground set by Tobias, designed by Tobias. Amazing, amazing set. Lot of dark red pieces. Oh, so beautiful pieces in there. But anyhow, here we have the London Underground, and then we have a couple of floors on top. Nice design. Well done, BlueBrixx here. And then we have the baby green sea turtle by Kinetic. That's actually the second sea turtle. There's already currently one. Actually, we have a set from that designer in a second as well. There's already, I think, a sea turtle in the current round, I think, or was it the round before? I think it's in the current round. But anyhow, here you go, a new sea turtle made the 10,000. It is built, actually. It's not coming out of studio, which I always love. It's done by Quaint Wolf 82. And yeah, it's a nice turtle. I think it has also, yeah, there are two variants. You can put it on a display, which is great, but there's also Technic functionality in there, and I guess you can even move it. So yeah, both functionality as well as a nice design as well. Do like it, but I also admit this is not a set I would buy. What I would buy actually is this one here, the Motorized Howl's Moving Castle. So that is of course based on the 2004 Japanese anime, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and I'm pretty sure I pronounced this entirely wrong. Of course, I mean, the anime was based on the novel from the mid-80s, I think. And if you look at the pictures from the anime, actually this is very, I mean, that designer, which is basically Eric Lego 321, really nailed it as far as I can tell. Never seen the anime, just looked at the pictures. But oh my god, that is an interesting design. Do I think that Lego's going to do it? No, I don't think so. But I mean, look at the tongue. It's made out of the separators. Amazing. This is actually something I would expect from a brand like Pantasy. This is like exactly in their ballpark. But anyhow, Eric Lego decided to go with LEGO Ideas Programm, which is great. Love the design, love the idea. Never seen the anime though. Anyhow, let's move on to the retro comic store. So that is done by Lego Overwatch. I have no idea how that person wants to have it pronounced. By the way, a very successful designer, and I think I talked about the turtle before. So has done the London Underground as well, a staff pick, and in review the Great Wave of Kanagawa. Obviously, that one doesn't have a chance anymore. I guess the Temple of Time. I've talked about all of these here. Also the Sea Turtle, also in review. So right now, 4 sets from the same designer in review. That's crazy, and they are all done basically in just with 1 or 2 months in between. So this is almost like Rob back in the day with the shop. And then we have the Japanese Castle. I talked about this one as well, again in review. Oh my god! And now achieved support the retro comic store. That's just crazy. I mean, this is ridiculous success, and they're all very different, right? They are not. It's not like with Rob's back in the day with the whole fishing and harbor theme. They all kind of belong together. So he was really riding this wave of success back in the day, all the hype, but around the fishing piece. But Lego Overwatch designs are all different, right? They don't belong to each other, but they're just good. Very well designed. Anyhow, here we go. We have the comic store. I'm not sure if I like the coloring of these pictures. It seems they're lacking a bit of contrast. So I think from that point of view, marketing-wise, not well done. But the design is solid. I mean, having a comic book store, I guess, would make a lot of people happy. Having all of these prints, I mean, and the design of these prints are just great. This would be amazing. Does it have a chance in ideas? Not so sure, but great design. And then let's move off to Medieval Seaside Market. So that is actually from a designer I've talked about before, BlueBrixx Venue. I think Uruguay is for Uruguay, isn't it? Anyhow, I just pronounced the BlueBrixx Venue. I'm not sure if that is correct. That is a designer that is also quite active on Unbreakable, also with medieval stuff. I talked about, I think, the Viking village before, and there's also other medieval stuff. So this designer seems to go like 2 ways, like many designers are doing that. But here it's done very well and very successfully, both success on Unbreakable as well as success over here. So this is the Medieval Seaside Market. So this is like, I would say, Lego castle design in many ways, very traditional in many ways. So I think it's a very good fit with both the blacksmiths, the 21325, as well as Lion's Castle. Personally, I still believe that the, let's say, even modern Lego castle designs like Lion's Castle are, from my point of view, a bit too simple. I think I regret a little bit, let's put it that way, that LEGO did not went farther, especially with the Lion Knight's castle. But I think on the other hand, on the bright side, this design here should fit very well with the other two. Do I believe that LEGO's going to do castle again in Ideas? I'm not sure. I mean, with the space stuff, the NASA stuff, they have done that, right? But in general, I think if they want to go more in the direction of castle and 18 plus, I guess Icons is the better place. But here you go, you got the medieval harbor, which would make an amazing set and a great addition. Plus, it would, of course, open up the whole idea of having, like, maybe even medieval ship, something like that, right? This could be a great extension to this one as well. So, yeah, I think a lot of folks would love it. But here we go. That was actually LEGO Ideas for this week as well. And with that, I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.